Good morning. Welcome to Freeway Bible Study. My name is Kurt Bell. I'm your host. Today, Genesis 44, a silver cup in a sack. I do this Bible study every day, Monday through Friday, during my commute to work. I'm a non-believer, an atheist, yet I enjoy studying the Bible and learning from the stories and ideas within. Then I think about it and talk about it on my commute to work, as we're doing right now. Let me just do a quick check of my bike. I think everything's in good order. Nothing's flapping around. Sometimes my jacket flap is loose, and though I can't hear it while I'm riding, I can. It'll come through in the video later, so I gotta remind myself to check that. And now, in Genesis 44, Joseph has his brothers back in Egypt with him, and they still don't know that he is Joseph, their brother. They think that he's simply or not simply, but they think that he is a great man of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh. Oh, here we go, green light, a rare opportunity, let's do it. And they have come back to Egypt twice now, the brothers have, to get grain to keep the family alive during the famine. And on the second trip, they brought the youngest brother, Benjamin, the boy's half-brother, but Joseph's full brother, specifically because Joseph had told them that he was going to keep one of their brothers hostage, that was Simeon, and would keep Simeon until they returned with Benjamin, and then that would prove their innocence, that they were not spies, and he would release all of them, and they would be free to trade with Egypt. But his father, Jacob, their father Jacob, aka Israel, would not allow Benjamin to leave. So it wasn't until they ran out of food again that finally he relented, and Benjamin has gone back with the brothers to Egypt, and now they're before Joseph. Now Joseph had, in Genesis 43, Joseph had welcomed them into his home for a banquet feast, a lunchtime feast, and now it's time for the men to return to Canaan. So Joseph instructs his servant, not his servant, but his steward, the overseer of the house, to fill the men's sacks with grain. I think it's corn, as much as they can carry. And then he further instructs him to take his own silver cup, Joseph's silver cup, and place it within the sack of the youngest brother. That would be Benjamin again. And what's interesting is that this isn't just a regular cup. This is Joseph's cup that he uses for divination, which detail I missed in my previous readings of the Bible. In fact, I missed it the first 2 times that I read this chapter this time. I read this probably 5 or 6 times now, and it finally dawned on me, wait a minute, he's saying that, well, look at that. He's saying that this cup he's using is for divination, and sure enough, he refers to it twice. He refers to it once with the steward, and then again later when the men are brought back to Joseph, and he says, how do you think you could escape me, a man like me? That's an important way to describe it, a man like me who has the power to divine. We'll come back to that in just a moment. So this is not just his regular cup, but this is divination cup that he's instructed his steward to place in Benjamin's sack. Then the men leave, and Joseph waits a little while, but not very long. The men have apparently just left the city. I think that's right. I think they're just outside the city, or just maybe still within the city. Haven't gone very far when Joseph tells his steward, rise up, go out, catch up with the men, and when you reach them, I want you to do the following. I want you to ask them why they would be so bad to steal my cup. And then, of course, uncover the cup that you placed in Benjamin's sack. So the steward does that, going along with the game. Not much of a game, really. Pretty serious stuff. And he catches up, and he says, why would you meet goodness with badness, right? Something to that effect. Why would we did you a good turn, excuse me to say it. Why would you treat us so bad as to steal my master's cup? And they're basically saying the cup is missing, and they think that these guys did it. And Joseph's brothers say, no, we would never do that. Why would we do that? And they make a good argument. They say, we came all the way back from Canaan with not only the silver to buy this corn, but also the silver that was given us in our last trip, that we brought that as well, and we're ready to pay it all. Why would we steal some silver from you now? So they said, and they kind of foolish, they say, they're so incensed, they're so sure that they're being wrongly accused. They say, go ahead, search the bags, and in whoever sack such a thing is found, let him be killed, and let the rest of us become servants. So they start looking through the sacks from oldest to youngest, so beginning with who is it? The oldest is Reuben, and finishing off with Benjamin. And in Benjamin's sack, lo and behold, there's the silver cup. And they're like, oh, and they're like tearing their clothes and renting their clothes, as they say, and it's just anguish and gnashing of teeth and all that. And they say, surely we are all your servants now. And so fast forward, they're back with Joseph, one of those bat chains, and spinning around, special effects, and now they're back with Joseph. And Joseph says immediately to them, what makes you think you could possibly do such a thing when I have the power of divination? When a man like me, okay, we're back to that point. And she says, a man like me, and I wonder, what does he mean by that? A man like me. Does he mean a holy man? Does he mean a great man? What is it? What quality of Joseph gives him the power of divination? I'm going to have to give this some thought. And I wonder if preachers use that statement to their advantage, to basically, because if you can be identified as having whatever quality Joseph has that allowed him divination, the power to divine, to be able to foretell the future, to see what's happening, to almost kind of a sorcery and witchcraft, right? If you can do that, then all you'd have to do is demonstrate somehow, or convince at least, that you've got those same qualities, and lo behold, you have the power, the divine mandate for divination. And you might imagine that could be a real cash cow. So then he does that. He says, how could you think I could do that when I have the power of divination? And he says, but I won't keep all of you slaves. I just want. Oh yeah. And then one of the brothers says, why would you think we would do this? But look, it looks like it was true, so we're all your slaves. And Joseph responds and says, no, I don't want all of you to be slaves. Just the youngest, whoever, he doesn't say the youngest, he says, whoever had the cup, whoever is found with the cup, he will be my slave and servant. The rest of you can go your way in peace. Now that puts them in a sticky wicket, right? Because that's the one scenario that they did not want to do. That's the one that they promised Israel that would not happen, because they said, we will return with Benjamin. They promised him solid, because they know that he'll die. And Israel said that Jacob said he would die without his youngest son. So then I think it's is it Judah, maybe? Can't quite remember. Maybe Judah, who then says, remember, Pharaoh just said, I'll keep the youngest son, but the rest of you go. And then I think it's Judah who says, my lord, give me just a moment to tell you a little story. And now he relates the whole thing, the whole tale back. And I won't go into all the gory detail because we've already covered it. But insofar as saying, my father up in Canaan, after we came back the first time, and you had taken Simeon hostage, and you told us to not come back unless we had our youngest brother Benjamin with you. Our father refused because he said he could not possibly die losing that son, because he was the only remaining son of this one wife. And so we didn't do it. And finally, when the food ran out, our father relented and let us come. But he said that if I guess I am relating the whole story, huh? But that's how the Bible does it. It relates the whole damn thing again. And it says, if our father, if we return without Benjamin, if something happens to Benjamin, then our father's gray hairs will go to his grave in sorrow, right? And we can't possibly do that. So please, and I think he says, take me or us, but don't take our younger brother Benjamin. And then that's the end of the chapter. So suddenly ends. So now Joseph's in an interesting spot, right? Now, of course, he knows that these are all his brothers, so I'm sure he doesn't wish them too much malice. And before long, we're going to have a happy ending, I believe. But interesting things, interesting tests. Also, it's interesting to note that the divination thing, did a little scholar research. Not that I'm a scholar, but I'm just referring to my reading of Bible scholarship, which they made an interesting point that with regard to the cup, that Joseph probably used the cup to divine things by looking at the patterns on the top of the cup. So I guess you'd pour in wine or tea or something like that, and you'd kind of see a pattern, swirls and the like, and that would tell you the future, just like you could do so with the entrails of animals. And it's interesting to note that the cup was used as a way to find out the brothers. Is kind of a stretch, but I think you know what I mean. So the observation was the divination was through observation and also through the fact of it. It all sounds like nonsense to me. I just can't get over the implication of a holy man of God, one of God's chosen. Not only performing divination through basically a form of oracle through objects like a cup, but believing that is with God's mandate, because he is a man of God after all, unless he's also worshiping some gods of the Egyptians, because this might have been an Egyptian custom he picked up. Maybe God was just grudgingly allowing it, or maybe there was an Egyptian god that was helping Joseph out. Who knows? Well, with that, I'll stop. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow for Genesis 45. Have a great day. Bye-bye.